Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome back to my page. Welcome back to the Lion's Den, and I'm Daniel. I guess no pun intended. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for coming together, gathering together, especially during these times. These latter days are insane. Also, you might see me smile a lot because I'm very, very grateful that the Spirit is pouring out in these last days. But there's very serious things happening right now, and many of you have begun to witness these signs in the world. I would like to make it clear that while prophets are present, the gift of the prophetic is a different gift. It's something else entirely, right? And to understand that one person can have multiple spiritual gifts and multiple titles as well. And a great example of that would be of King David, who was a musician, he was a warrior, he was a prophet, and he was also a king, right? And so I say that to say why I am here and why someone else might be here that you listen to are completely different reasons, but we all function in the body together, right? And when I say completely, I don't mean completely separating from the core, bringing souls into Jesus Christ, but I mean that our functions and operations may be different. Why I am here and why many of you have come to my page is because I have been given the gift of the prophetic, and I have been able to receive word from the Spirit that there may be clarity for his children on what has come to pass and what will come to pass. And so that which he has shared with me, I share with you sparingly, waiting for his word to come. Knowing that I have all authority to share with those who are ready to hear, knowing I have all authority to move in many of the things that the Lord has shown me, but being very cautious and careful not to say too many things, especially given with what the Lord has shown me of the work of where I will be going into, where he will be taking me, right? So I say these things to encourage you to start becoming familiar with the language and the culture of the kingdom. The language and the culture of the kingdom is not everyone's a minister or a teacher or a pastor. And the way that they have siphoned things in this world, the way that the adversaries worked to siphon our minds for that all Christians to think one way is very, very damning. It's very, very damning. And I mean that and like it's cursed. Like it's actually bad. There's so many people who are actually plagued by the fact that they feel like their work, that they should be ministering and going out onto the streets and bringing people in, but they just don't feel like that's them. They don't feel like that's what the Lord has called them for. Maybe it's because the Lord didn't call you for that. So many people who feel like I know I'm a prophet and when I went out and I know I can see these things and I want to prophesy for the Lord, but it just for some reason I just don't I don't know, I don't feel it. Maybe because you aren't. Maybe the prophets, their experience with the Father is undoubtable and indistinguishable from anything else. When a prophet sees from the Lord and is called by the Lord, you do not mistake it with anything else. You hear very clearly, and then those things are play out in your life. You are anointed by these things, and then even more so within for my own personal case, people will come who have never heard this story before, never heard what the Lord told you, and they will begin to out of their mouths just instantly prophesy in the Spirit the same things that the Lord told you years ago. These things. So if the Lord has not called you to go out and do this thing, then do not stress yourself up and down in the Spirit and worry the Spirit and plague the Spirit with this worry and this doubt and all these things, right? But be vigilant and be diligent to ask the Father for what he has called you for. And if you do wish to have spiritual gifts, be diligent in asking the Father for those things as well, right? Because in these last days, he's pouring out his Spirit. He's giving out his Spirit. And as I'm getting ready to share with you, so many children are getting ready to step into that blessing, step into the blessing of the day, the blessing of his Spirit, and the day of the Lord. The first fruits are getting ready to be revealed. And the first fruit was already revealed. We already know, big homie was already revealed. And our big brother, his Spirit is edifying and making many more. And he is collecting his first fruits because we know that we are a gift to him. And we are the hope of the Father. And so I want to speak to you all about what this Father told me concerning his hope, us, his children on this earth, and the kingdom of heaven that is already at hand according to the Son. And so The verses that were given to me today to back what I'm getting ready to read, that the Father had me write down last week, and it is a bit of prophecy of what's to come, but it is more of a commandment and a call to action. Here then are the verses that he gave me when I asked him what verses are there to back up what I would get ready to read to you all today to encourage your children. Uh, he told me Psalms 119, go to Psalm 119, verse 15 through 16. And there was also Psalms, weirdly enough, 115, verse 9. And so I will start off reading Psalms 119, verse 15 through 16. Sorry. Yes, verse 15 through 16. Okay, let me begin. I will meditate on your precepts, and I will contemplate your ways. I will delight myself in your statutes. I will not forget your word. Okay, and so let's go to 115, and that is 9. I was like, hold up, why my Bible missing a whole chapter? Nah, all right, here it goes. And 9 is a simple, it reiterated what was happening in 115, or in 119. It says, Psalms 115 now, verse 9 says, O Israel, trust in the Lord. He is their help and their shield. All right. With those two banner verses being read, and I would like you all to take the time to go read all of 115 and all of 119 yourself, because 115 actually goes into the futility of the idols and the trustworthiness of God. And as I've talked about in my last videos, as I've talked about over and over and over again, in 2019, the Lord revealed to me that the era of truth was coming, and at the peak of the era of truth, the idols would fall. Many idols would fall. Well, guess what? We are at the peak, 2024, we are at the peak of the era of truth. And so what we are going to watch for the rest of this year into the next year are many people falling, many idols falling. Matter of fact, in 2025, it might be even more detrimental. This year, 2024, for those who are paying attention, you're beginning to see the chaos and the craziness, right? But for many individuals, they are still blind. They are still asleep. There's still many more people asleep, not wanting to have the conversations, not wanting to come out of the world, not wanting to come from the distractions, not wanting to be aware, not being cautious about what they're putting into their eye and who they're worshiping and who they're celebrating and who they're going to concerts with and who they're going to see at those concerts. There's so many people who are unconcerned about all of those things, going to the club and hanging out with so-and-so and being with people, even though they've been convicted multiple times concerning this celebrity, concerning this friend, concerning this place, concerning these times. They've been convicted. They still are acting as though they're unbothered. And to be honest, it is actually their prerogative. This is the last year that you will experience normalcy the way that you once knew it in America. This is the last year. I would caution you not to stay asleep, for we are children of light and the day is coming. You do not want to be in the night asleep when the day is here. You don't want to be that. And go to 1 Thessalonians to see exactly what I'm talking about here. And so, because this is the last year, the Lord has been preparing his children. Whether he's been actively preparing you in the spirit, like he's been doing with me, whether he has taken you aside, just separated you, and has been making you aware. Maybe you haven't had any spiritual experiences, right? But you've just been aware. The Lord has just been making you aware of your family, making you aware of the way you were raised and the way that you have to separate yourself. The way that you have to separate yourself from the ideas that were passed on to you and the expectations that are still held on you and environments that no longer serve you. You know, maybe he's made you aware of your patterns. Maybe he's made you aware of the ways that you have plagued yourself for the last 7 years. And he's brought you to tears, ended relationships that you have been in for almost as long as you can remember, right? Ended deep relationships that it may have been the greatest, most powerful emotion of close to love you've ever felt about someone, but it was toxic. And you knew it, and the Lord knew it. And so it's time to let it go, and he's helping you recognize your patterns. All of these things are because the times that are coming, none of these, there will be no time to be distracted and focused on these things. If you are still someone after 2024 who is struggling with dating the right people and being in the right relationships, and you're still choosing toxic men or toxic women, you're still following after the lusts of the world, you're still finding yourself distracted, I'm so sorry. But it's like we're entering a different game and you're playing the one from years ago. You're still playing the one that most of the people left that game a long time ago, especially in the kingdom, especially those who are in the kingdom, right? And I don't say this to trouble you. I don't say this to be like, oh, you better get it together. I say this because God is inviting you. God is, if he's made you aware of these things, if he's convicted you of these things, he's also saying, you're it. You're it. He wants you. He wants you. He wants to take you out from under the world. He believes in you. He has faith in so many things, but he has faith in what he has done in you, the work he's already started in you. Do you understand how powerful it is to come out from under the world and minister about Christ? Many of you understand how powerful it is because many of you found Christ that very same way, listening to men and women who were the same way. Be the children of light right now. Stop looking for saviors in the world. Be the children of light. I will go ahead and begin to read this prophecy and word that the Lord gave me today to read out to his children. And if the Lord is judge, my name is Daniel, which means God is judge. And the Lord has called me to be like a gavel. So let everything that is being sounded out here today be his final judgment on these things. So the Lord spoke to me and said, the time for the children of light is right now. For the children of light will walk as children of light, and we will be distinguishable from the darkness, wickedness, and perverseness of the nations. For his hand will be diligent in their work, and their tongues will be excellent. Their hearts will be like that of a lamb's, and yet their minds will be like that of the wisest and most cunning serpent. I'll pause there for a moment. This is what he's saying the children of light are. This is what his children will look like now. This is what he says his children will look like. He says, for the children of light will walk as children of light and will be distinguishable from the darkness, wickedness, and perverseness of the nations. We will be gathered together. We will be gathered together. And we will look different. For their hands will be diligent in their work. Anything that we're building, no one is going to be look at that and say, well, it was half-aid. They didn't really put in any work, though. No, they will look at what we built with our hands and they'll say, how did they accomplish something like that during these times? Their tongues will be excellent. They're going to be scared. People will be scared to debate somebody. He is raising people. He is raising children you've never heard of. You've never seen them in the media. And some of the great debaters and orators that you hear in the media today, they will be at a loss of words against these children, against his children who are rising. Their hearts will be like that of lambs, and their minds will be like that of the wisest and most cunning serpent. You won't catch them slipping. You won't catch them slipping. The Lord might catch them slipping. The Lord might catch them stumbling so that they don't fall, but you won't catch his children slipping. And even if you were to catch it in the sense of them making a mistake, the grace that is surrounding his children is so abundant that even that mistake, because they are being so authentic, because their hearts are like that of lambs, and because they are wise in their minds, I don't know how to describe it to you, what I'm seeing, like what the visual, I don't know how to describe it to you, but even those mistakes will roll off of them like water on your shoulder. It will roll off of them. They understand that they are justified in the Spirit. And that if it is a public mistake, that which needs to be made manifest, the light will manifest all that needs to be made manifest in the light. That is what the light does. And so there is essentially no worry in their hearts. There's peace. And there's wisdom in their minds. And strategy. A lot. Their hands will reach, and they shall receive and accomplish. Their feet shall move, and mountains will be cleared from their path. The songs of angels surround them, that the enemy may cover their ears and tremble in fear. So then come out from under her, the world, that you may not perish in the day of his glory and in the day of the Lord and the glory of his children. Come out from under her, that you may not be like the wicked, who will tremble and bow in hopes of keeping their life. I'm going to pause there. When the Lord spoke to me about how these children would walk, he showed me what looked like a legion of angels. Like, you know how celebrities walk with, you ever seen the pictures or videos of celebrities walking with like their bodyguards, and they have maybe the 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 around them, or maybe if they're very, very big, they have like multiple security with them in different positions, right? And you see them escort them and walk them to their black car, and there's 3 more security guys inside of that car, and then there's 2 more in the car in front of them and the car behind them, and then they ride out as if they're the president of the United States, right? But we've seen these things, right? What the Lord had shown me was that for his children, it would be like his children had 40 of the most elite angels in heaven around them, and that one of them equated to 100 of the enemies that would try to come in, even more. Like 100 does not do the number that I'm justifying. I'm trying not to exaggerate the number in my mind that I saw, but if you can imagine one being having the strength of 100 beings, and then some, and then a lot more, right? This is what the children were surrounded by, and these angels are singing. They're singing. So not only are you surrounded by a legion of angels, so that the adversary would never even try, as he sees you in the spirit. You're a giant. These angels are giants, but you're a giant. You're a spiritual giant, and the adversary will not try you. He won't. Even his vessels will not try you. I've spoken about this in my last video. Even his vessels, who will secretly plot in their hearts to tear you apart, to tear these children down, to destroy and pervert everything that they're teaching the world right now, a saving grace for the world right now, saving grace for this next generation. Because if this did not happen, if he did not rise his children up right now, if the Lord did not do anything right now, there would be no it's a cap. It's done. It's a wrap, right? He's raising up his children for the sake of the next generation, that they also may find him, right? And so the adversary, those people who are plotting even against you, who will be plotting against you who speak these things, you who rise up and are elegant, they will not speak against you openly. They can't. They won't. You're going to be championing children, peace, light, love, things of the Father, right? And they will be trying to champion the same things, but they won't have the spirit of truth behind them. They won't know the way. They won't have the wisdom of the Holy Spirit and in them in order to actually edify people. Everything that they will be preaching will be about self-edification and things for you to do for yourself. Whereas what we are giving is what the Lord has given us: freedom to let go and let God, freedom to walk on the path of clarity of what is the path, what does it look like, where do we go? Everyone is claiming to be a guru or a teacher or a prophet or a wise man or any of these things today, right? There will be 2 camps, like I spoke about in my last video. There will be the children of the matrix breakers, and there will be the children of the day, the children of light, right? And these 2 camps will be trying to lead this culture, this current culture that we are in, into the next 10, 20, 30 years. The children of light, his children, will be at the forefront of this. And so come out from under her, that you may be a part of this, and not be led into confusion like the wicked, and not be one of the many who are just confused as to what's going on. If you are one of the children of light, you will have this spirit guiding you. And you will have the Holy Spirit guiding you through all the confusions, through the judgments, through all of the signs and wonders that you will see. And that will be so necessary during the time, because if you do not have the Holy Spirit guiding you, if you are not in the day and awake during this time, then you will see all these false prophets rise. You will see signs and wonders rise, but you won't know what's what. It'll be hard. You'll be begging for the Spirit then. You'll be begging, you'll be begging, you'll be begging. But by then, it's the Lord's grace alone. It's the Lord's grace alone that you receive that. And who are the children of the matrix breakers? Who are they being led by? They're being led by the adversary. And so they have a bit of clarity themselves when it comes to the knowledge of the world and how to navigate in the knowledge of the world. They'll be offering truth to people as far as the knowledge of the world. But you know how we know how the adversary works. Every truth comes with a little bit of a lie on the side. Actually, two sides of a lie. You know what I'm saying? And you got to take all of it when it comes to the matrix breakers, when it comes to the adversary, that he wants you to take all of it, the truth and the lie, that it may pervert the truth, right? So there will be two camps who believe that they're moving in clarity. One is actually moving in clarity, and one is moving further and further into wickedness, thinking that they are evolving, thinking that they're innovating with new technologies, thinking that they're innovating with communicating with intercommunicating with divine beings and species and things of that nature, right? They think that they're evolving. They will be moving the world into more and more chaos because all of their rhetoric will be centered what? On this world. Whereas the children of light, all of our rhetoric will be centered on what? The kingdom of heaven. And so I'm going to continue. The Lord says, have you not struggled with anxieties enough? Are you not sick of the confusions? What has plagued your mind this way? Have you seen it? Why then do you still eat from it? Be done with what no longer serves you, putting away the child and the old self, and walk as mature children of light in the light. For what the light makes manifest is for all to see. I'm going to keep going. The judgments will be strict in this age and final. This part here actually, excuse me for pausing for a moment. This part here is actually more prophetic. Before I get into this part, actually, that last part, the questions that the Lord has for his people, have you not had enough of the anxieties? Are you not done with being confused? Have you seen the things that have plagued your mind in anxiety and confusion? If you've seen them, why do you still go to them? Why do you still eat from them? This is all of anyone who's listening to this and is convicted by this, you know exactly what I mean. And I hope that you can relay that this is me, love. Like, this is love. Like, this is actually love. If I were to see someone that I loved who told me, oh, I feel like I keep getting sick and I have this stomach ache and I keep vomiting, and then we go to their pantry and I see that all of their food is expired, and they say, I'm not really sure why, but yeah. And I tell them, well, all of your food is expired, so you need to buy new food. You need to stop eating this food. It's not serving you at all. It's making you sicker. You need to eat something new. And he might say, I might be able to make this one last. I really wanted to eat. Get a new bag. The Netflix, the clubbing, and I say these things like Netflix, right? Like watching Netflix isn't a sin. Are you distracted? What are you watching on there? What are you doing before bed? Are you distracting yourself more than are you entertaining yourself more than educating yourself? Are you distracting your spirit, quenching your spirit more than filling your spirit? This is what I mean. If you go somewhere, if at night you suffer from terrible dreams, and then you open up Netflix at 11 p.m. before you're going to go to sleep, and you watch something that is plagued with demonic content, because there's so much of that in our media. That's all Hollywood is. At this point, you are seeing that it is run by many occult groups and occult practices, and they put these things very openly in the TV shows. They literally put these things right in front of us, their desires, their wishes, right? And then you go to sleep and you dream and you wonder why your dreams are so terrible, why you're filled with so much anxiety and so much doubt and dread in the morning. Or you're watching the news and it is nothing but terrible news, and you're wondering why you're filled with so much anxiety or dread in the morning. Or you haven't gone to your Bible, but you keep getting up in the morning at the beginning of the day, and you hit this routine and none of it is filling you throughout the day, and you know that the Bible would fill you, but you don't go to the thing that would fill you. You keep going to the other things, anything else to fill you, because you believe that something here is supposed to work. You're not from here. Your spirit is not from this realm. And so are you tired of the anxieties and confusions? Because that's not how his children are supposed to feel. Actually, his children are commanded not to fear, commanded not to worry, commanded to rejoice through everything, even through our suffering. How can one rejoice through their suffering? They aren't plagued with anxieties and confusions. That's not why they're suffering. That's why many of you are suffering today, is because you are plagued with anxiety, confusion, which leads to shame and guilt. Plagued with these things, right? But his children aren't plagued with these things. The yoke is light for us. The yoke is light. We understand our Father. When we are in suffering, we're suffering creation. We're suffering his story. We're suffering his timing, his will over us, over our lives. Right? It may be pain, it may be patience, but what we aren't is confused. What we aren't is anxious. The adversary may try to get you, but if you're consistently filling yourself with light, if you're consistently filling yourself with food, every fiery arrow that the adversary tries to shoot at your mind to get you to go back into the sea of forgetfulness, into the sea of where all the sin and all the old things were, and tries to get you to well, maybe I'm not worthy of this, because maybe it's not my time. Maybe it's just not my time, and maybe I've been there. I've been there with all of those things. And the Lord told me to tell those thoughts to be silent, to get behind me, Satan. He only put on the helmet of salvation, that you may focus on the hope of salvation. That is what you're putting into your eye. I'm going to continue with the prophecy over here. Remember, if you're filling yourself with light, the adversary the dark thoughts, dark food, it isn't pleasing to you. You're not going to want to sit on there and chew on it or think of it. You will simply cast it aside. You will capture the thought and send it up to God, that he may renew your mind, and you will cast out those relationships with those different demons and evils and thoughts that you had before. But this is only if you're filling yourself up with light. You won't be, even if they try you with confusion, you won't be confused. Your spirit will convict you in knowing. This is the Father. I've got to move through this right now. I just got to be a soldier. There is no entitlement. I'm not owed anything. There is no other way. I got to stop trying to look for another way. The judgments will be strict in this age and final. There will be no pardon or petition on behalf of the saints. Excuse me one moment. There will be no pardon or petition on behalf of the saints who walk according to the law of truth and justice to be secured. So I'm gonna pause there for a second. What I'm saying there is that who the saints petition for or ask a pardon for during this time, there won't be. The Lord isn't granting pardons and petitions over those who he has already determined judgment on. Those who he's already determined judgment on and has made you aware of the judgment. If you were hearing from the saints, if you were hearing from the prophets that this judgment is happening, then this judgment is final. It's final. And he's made me aware of many that are rising up that he's judging in this time. And I'm not to say anything until the time, but I have written most of it down and I have recorded many of these things so that at the time you'll know as well. But I'll give you an example. The Lord made me aware at the time. He was making me aware of people who were rising and many people who would fall and what it would look like in the next couple of years. And one of the people that he had made me aware of was Beyonce. And when he had made me aware of what he had made me aware of, I prayed over her. I petitioned for her. And he showed me what he showed me. And his answer was basically no. No. And that was shocking. But it won't be very shocking soon. You'll see exactly why he said no. He showed me in a dream, two dreams actually, why he was not answering. He heard my prayers. He saw that I was genuine in my heart. He saw that. And so he met me in my dreams and showed me exactly why he was saying no to me concerning the grace I was asking for her. And so, but pray for one another, for the world of for the words of prayer are still and even mightier in this day and age. This means for those who the Lord has not determined judgment on, aka he has determined judgment on individuals. He's determined judgment on cities. He's determined judgments on some of these idols, on some of your pastors. He's determined judgment on some of your politicians. If you have soul ties to any of these places, any of these people, then you are actually walking into their judgment daily and you don't even know it. Like by the time that their judgment comes, you will fall into their judgment in one way or another, right? And so you all who are following these people do not have to be judged in that same way. And this is why his saints are here. This is why his children are here like salt to preserve the earth. While we may not be able to petition for what he has already judged and what he has already said is going to happen, who he has already said is going to fall, and the cities that are going to burn. I told you about the earthquake that will hit Los Angeles and will shake not just this nation, but the world. It will be so massive that it will shake this nation and the world, and the fire that is coming to New York. And some have said a flood that is coming. Whatever's coming there, it will be a disaster. He hasn't shown me anything personally over there, although he did make me aware that there would be blood in the snow. These things, you can pray for individual people that they may not have to go into that judgment, right? Because our prayers are even mightier in this day and age because he's pouring out his spirit. And so now people are praying in knowledge of Christ. They're praying in knowledge of the Spirit. Now his children have received the Spirit and they understand how to pray. And so prayer has become even mightier in this day and age. Do not stop praying for your brother or your sister or those who are lost in the world, and you desperately, you know that they can come to Christ. Do not stop praying for your brother and sister. Pray even harder for them in this day and age. Pray even harder for them now, that they will not have to meet that judgment, that grace, that God will supply grace to you, to them, and to their entire family, and that the wisdom that exceeds all knowledge and understanding in this realm is given to them, that the wisdom, so that they may avoid judgment even up to the minute in the final hour, that they can avoid the judgment as well. As we near the beginning and suffer the end, put on the full armor of Christ. For great powers like that of the ages prior are rising, and greater powers than that of the ages prior. And the wrestling of principalities and powers will become a physical as much as a spiritual wrestling. As the veils tear between the spirit and the physical every day. Behold, the heavens are opening, and being loosed from them is what was once loosed on earth. Put on the full armor of Christ. It's been easy to be a Christian. It's been very easy to be a Christian these last couple of years. Put on, and when I say the last couple of years, I mean like 50, like maybe do even 100. But what we're going into, when they've told you to put on the full armor of Christ before, maybe you just thought that was something that you could pray over and it was nice. This, you need to pray over it like it is, like it is your birthright. It is absolutely essential and necessary to have this in order to battle what is coming. You need to pray over it like that you fully understand what it means to put on. I even pray this daily, that he may be able to better use me, right? But we need to begin praying for these things, praying for our spiritual gifts, and that we have understanding how to use our spiritual gifts and our power, that we may be able to battle what is coming. Because like I said, it is even going to be yes, the spiritual battle is in full effect, but it is even about to become physical in a way that you've never seen before. You've never seen before. Many of you have never experienced war before. Some of you have experienced war before. But that is not even that's not even the full extent of what I'm talking about. The veils are tearing. You're getting ready to see things that your eyes and your brain are trying to, like, what, how do I process a giant? How do I process extraterrestrial beings? You're getting ready to see these things in a way. How do I process political uprisings in ways that I've lived in this nation my whole life? What is happening? What is happening? How is it all? How is the way democracy has been happening this entire time? How is it all changing all of a sudden? All of a sudden, you're getting ready to see all these things. You need to put on your spiritual armor that you may withstand the day. The heavens are opening and being loosed from them, what was once loosed on earth. A great outpour of water is coming from the sky. And this was a vision that the Lord had shown me. The sky opening up and a great outpour of water coming out of it, like that of a massive waterfall or of a gardener tending to his crops. And what shall grow on the earth and in the hearts of men will be what they have sown into their hearts and into their lands. And so this watering is called judgment. For wickedness will rise, and so too will the kingdom of heaven. And for some, this watering will be like a wave, and those who cannot stand because they have not been fed will be washed away. But those in the kingdom who sought the kingdom first, they shall bloom in their season, having all things added onto them. And when the waters stop, he will separate the wicked crop from the good, seeing in all clarity and apparentness who is for him and who is for the world. And then he will throw the wicked crop into the fire, and the good crop may flourish. So let me break down a little bit of this, because it is surreal. It is surreal and it is powerful. And I know what we've been talking this whole time in more of a light tone, and I've tried to express to you all what the energy that the Lord has shown me. He's just up. He's up and ready, like the sun, like that, like the physical sun. Like he's up and ready like the sun. Like he is ready. The day is here, right? And he's looking at his children like, which of you will go out for me? Which of you, like with Isaiah, when he asked who will go out and read this thing after he placed the coal on his tongue, and Isaiah raised his hand and said, I will go out. I'll go out and do this. That's how the Lord is right now, right? But this is very surreal, because this water, like I said, like I said just now, from what he shared with me, this watering is judgment. The sky is opening up. The waterfalls, it's pouring down, and it is very, 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 very heavy, and it will not stop until the end. It will not stop until until he returns. And so this water will either wash you away or it will make you stronger. This water will either drown you and wash you out, or it will edify and nurture and nourish everything that you have been building, and nourish you and your spirits as well. And it will test all of us. It will test everyone. Mark my words. A major, major, major impact is coming to America. This is the last good year that we have, and I do not know the timing of these things. Although I do have a good guess on some of these things, right? A major, major, major impact that will affect each of us at an individual level is coming to this country. It will test each of us individually. What do I mean? It will be a singular event that will be like a domino effect of other major events that if any of those things had happened by themselves, it would have been big. But the fact that all of these are happening together makes it even worse. But the first event, the first one, is what caused the rest of all, and it was the worst of them. This, I mean, actually, to the individual, one may seem worse than the other, but this is what got the nation's attention. The nation's attention. Not just this nation, but many nations' attention. It is coming. It is coming to this country. You are either being made prepared for that or you're not. Excuse me one moment. When I say at the individual level as well, I mean that it will be like rats in a maze. If after this event, it'll be like rats in a maze. It will be like, do the rats, when they are out of the maze, know that there are other rats there? Sure, they understand that they're all asleep in the same area together, or maybe they put several rats or mice in at one time to try to complete the maze, and they're aware that each other are there. They hear each other, so they are aware of it. Maybe they've even seen each other, right? But at the end of the day, as soon as they are in that maze, their only goal is to figure out where the food is or where their way out is. That's it. And the Lord said that the time would be likened to this, that each of us would be mice in our own individual mazes of our minds. That it would be like the person next to us is watching the same event on the news as you, and an entire universe, an entire world for them to navigate is now being opened up in their mind because of this event. And the same thing is happening for you. The same thing is happening for you, who is even in the spirit. Understandings, brand new understandings, and they are so vast. The processing of what's happening will be so vast and so hard that you cannot even communicate to the person next to you without feeling more confused. Like the synapses, their life experiences, all of the things that led up, their understandings, when met with this impact that is coming to this country, all of it will be shaken. Everything will be shaken. Our understanding will be shaken of what happens next, because we have, again, not experienced anything like it. So I say this because it is time. When in the Bible did the Lord raise up his children or his prophets? It was always, if you look back at your text, you will see a very similar pattern of when it was. And it is always at the time that they are needed most. It is always at a time that is of great destruction and judgment that is coming before a nation. I don't know a single prophet that went out and did not have anything to say about the Lord's judgments that are coming. Good and right, beautiful judgments and damning judgments, scary judgments, right? Blessings and curses. And so here we are again. Chosen generation. And when I say chosen, I mean chosen to witness the end and witness the first fruits being born and bearing. And that is going to be a beautiful thing. The last part I will say here is that I spoke on here is it said, when the waters stop, he will separate the wicked crop from the good crop, seeing all clarity and apparentness who is for him and who is for the world. And then he will throw the wicked crop into the fire, and that the good crop may flourish. If you've read your text, then you understand Jesus's parable of they're not called tariffs, but the crops that grow alongside the good crops that impede the good crops growth. Then the Lord goes in and he says that he will separate the wheat from the other thing. I'm just drawing a blank on the word. And one represents the good he will store in the barn house, and the rest he will burn. All right. And that is a representation of him separating the sheep of the goat, the wicked from the righteous. And again, here now we have also the wicked crop from the good crop. And so from what I understanding, what he shared with me, when the waters end, this is when he returns. This is when he returns, that he will then separate these things, right? And in all clarity and in all apparentness, we will see who is for him and who is against him. But these waters will not stop up until that moment. These waters will not stop. The Spirit will not stop. It will keep growing and keep advancing until you see a clear separation, until the wicked cannot deal with how powerful the Spirit is. And they have to go up against it because of what they want to do in the world. And the Spirit cannot tolerate what the wicked is doing for the sake of our Father and his kingdom. And so there will be a clear opposition at the end. Very, very clear opposition at the end. And everyone will have chosen from the beginning of time to the very end whose side they were on. And this is how we are all judged together at the end. And for those of you who have ears to hear and wisdom, let them understand what I've just mentioned here. For many people ask, why then has the Lord not returned? But he who has ears to hear the wisdom and the secret knowledge which was just revealed unto you as to why and what the Lord is doing in the grandness of his plan. I love you all so much, and I pray that this video, that this message, that this word edified your spirit. I pray that you all drop the facades, the egos, the overthinking, the judgment of other people, the judgment of yourselves. I pray that you all work to have more compassion for yourself and for other people right now than judgment. Tip the scales towards compassion. Tip the scales towards mercy. Tip the scales towards truth. Run fervently and hungry to get this word, to get his word, so to be a vessel that the Lord communicates with day in and day out. This is what what have I been doing these last couple months, these last 3 months? Training in the Spirit. I've asked the Lord, make me a vessel that can be used more efficiently by you. Make me a vessel that you look and you smile on his house with countenance, on his family with the countenance is a smile. But more than this, you look and you say that this one I can use immediately. I can use now for this purposes and these purposes here and there. And I it's an honor to be used by the Lord. It's an honor. But what's more wonderful to me is the reason that I'm chasing after all those things is so that I know what it's like. So I can remember what home was like, where I'm from, the kingdom of heaven, so that I can feel what home is like, so that I can feel my Father, that I can know him, so that I know him when I see him here and when I hear his voice. And the more I know what my Father's voice sounds like, the more I know what the adversary's voice sounds like. Because it doesn't sound like my Father's, it sounds the opposite. It sounds very fear-based. And the Holy Spirit troubles you none. He only convicts you in peace, even when it's something you don't want to hear. So ask for these things. Walk towards these things diligently, like a student who is studying for an exam and needs to go to a library, go to the most advanced library in the world in order to ace this exam, because all of the materials and resources that he needs to continue are here and put him over the edge are here. Liken that same way to the text. Run to the most advanced book of spiritual knowledge and power that there is, to the most advanced and powerful God that there is, the God of the universe. Run to him, seek him and nothing else. Be determined to seek to have him and nothing else, to settle for nothing else. Be determined, so perseverant and determined that he cannot ignore you, and go receive your blessing, Be like that of the persistent woman that Jesus had in the parable, or be like that of Israel, Jacob, who wrestled the angel of the Lord, that his blessing may come to him. The Lord loves perseverance, loves persistence, especially, he loves it when it is of the things of him, when it is something you are seeking from him. He loves that because that means that you are persistent and diligently looking for him. And he's like, you could be wrestling with anything. You could be diligently working towards anything, but you're doing it with me. And with me, that means I can actually teach you something and then give it to you. Go diligently and do this thing. I love you all. Please pray for me. Pray for each other's families. Pray for my family as well. Um, the Lord is doing some very, very beautiful things with my family, beautiful things with me in this time, and um, He's kept me separate from the world for a while, and He's getting ready to send me back out into the world. And so please, please pray that the Holy Spirit is with me, as I pray that the Holy Spirit is with you and your fathers and your brothers and your sisters and your mothers, that the whole body may be edified more and more every day. I love you all. Glory to the Lord. Peace be with you guys.